From the president quoting Alan Dershowitz.
All right, I agree with the president quoting Alan Dershowitz that really these special prosecutors run far afield of what they're impaneled for, and that in the end we end up getting sort of a wild goose chase down all kinds of nooks and crannies. And so I think special prosecutors have too much power and that we really shouldn't have them. I would not have appointed Mueller. Now that it's going, it's a little bit more difficult to end, but there really is no reason why Mueller should be investigating things other than Russian collusion. If there is no Russian collusion, he should wind up, close his investigation, and let's move on. What I don't like is that they can subpoena all of your records, your business records for the last 20 years, and if you didn't fill one of the forms in correctly with the IRS, all of a sudden you're going to be convicted of something completely unrelated to Russia. So I think it needs to be done with. If there is no Russian collusion, let's close it up and let's move on.
Got it. So, do you have a sense of where it's going, though? I mean, is it Russian collusion or not, whether it's Russian collusion or...
I haven't seen any evidence of that, and I don't believe there was any evidence. Did the Russians try to influence our election? In all likelihood, yes. What should we do? We should start working together to try to protect ourselves, both cybersecurity and otherwise, and our electoral process. Absolutely, let's do that. But instead, it's sort of this witch hunt now that's become very, very partisan, and now we're seeing all these people from the intelligence community, Brennan, Clapper, all of them piling on and exposing themselves to be left-wing Democrats who hate the president. So, yes, I think we have to be very careful about how much power we give to those in the intelligence community.
Speaking of John Brennan, former CIA director, you guys have not had a lot of love lost over the years. And that's been well documented. He sent this tweet out, the president, over the weekend. When the full extent of your venality, moral turpitude, and political corruption becomes known, you will take your rightful place as a disgraced demagogue in the dustbin of history. You may scapegoat Andy McCabe, but you will not destroy America. America will triumph over you. Well, that got your dandruff up, Senator. You said this right away. This man had the power, meaning John Brennan, to search every American's records without a warrant. What's disgraceful is attacking the Bill of Rights and the freedom of every American. You don't like the policies of John Brennan. Why'd you write that?
Well, I think he'll go down in history. John Brennan is someone who is very much a partisan and not in the tradition of law enforcement of trying to be even-keeled and nonpartisan. So I'm very upset with what he said about the president, but I'm also very upset that he was a big advocate of basically unlimited surveillance of Americans. When they were collecting millions and millions of Americans' data and searching this data without a warrant, that was John Brennan and James Clapper. And so these people are going to go down in history as not only not caring about the Bill of Rights, but also then inserting themselves and being angry partisans against the president. So this is exactly why we need more control over the intelligence community. And I think they should never be searching in Americans' records without a judge's warrant. I continue to advocate for that. I lost the last time around when we tried to reform this, but I continue to advocate that nobody on either side, nobody in the intelligence community should search an American's record without a judge's warrant.
Can you understand why folks back in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where you call home, think that the deep state is alive and kicking?
Yeah, because they're seeing so many biased people. We got John Brennan attacking the president in a personal way. You got James Clapper attacking the president. You've also got active members
I'll give another
of the
one.
FBI attacking the president.
Samantha Power from the UN, she tweeted out a good idea to, pardon my language, to piss off John Brennan, her words. And then she came back later and said, whoa, I didn't realize what I'd stirred up and all this, and tried to clear it up with another tweet.
Well, the interesting thing here is that
you just wonder why. You know, people on the outside, they're trying to figure out what's happening on the inside in towns like where you are in Washington.
Yeah, and here's the thing about the deep state. There are objective facts that tell you that there is an uncontrollable deep state in the intelligence community. Only 8 people in Congress are allowed to know anything about what goes on in the deep state. And unfortunately, the 8 people in Congress that oversee the intelligence community have typically been a rubber stamp for the intelligence community. So I want more oversight. I think all of Congress should know a lot more about what the intelligence community is doing. And absolutely, we should have judicial oversight, meaning that judges should have to grant warrants to look at Americans' information. Right now, Andrew McCabe, when he was still active, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, I've asked this question of the FBI. Are they still allowed to look at Americans' data without a warrant? This is really the pertinent question. Do we still have people who hate the president who are allowed to search databases about the president or the president's supporters?
Yeah. Last question on this Facebook matter and big data companies.